Hi, and welcome to this video. We'll show you how we have made a different way of restarting CPI messages, and this is a part of the Figaf IRT tool that allow you to improve the monitoring, the support and development of your CPI system. So the normal way that you have for CPI, if you wanted to do an exact launch as you had in PO, was use one of these two options. Either use the GMS, the enterprise messaging, to ensure correct delivery, or you could use the data store, save the message into this payload or into this data store, and then process it from there. Both of these have to be built into the process, and it makes sense in some scenarios to use these. But what I wanted to show is a different way that can be used in some scenarios. So with this, we support SOAP, HTTP, and Process Direct, those adapters. And what is required for you to do is you need to add a script in the beginning of this processing, and the script would then save payload and headers into a property. And then if the process failed, it will then save this process into an MPL attachment and specify that this needs to be logged. Then the ERT application will find all of these iFlows marked with this receiver, and you can then in the ERT application look at what messages needs to be processed. If you have Process Direct, you need to apply HTTP to Process Direct iFlow in it. So the way we're ensuring correct delivery is that you can resend the message if it has this ERT save payload defined with it. And then when we're doing restart, it will be sent with a new correlation ID and unique defined by the ERT application. And that means that after processing, next time we're accruing this data set, if we find the same error again with that correlation ID we already have, we know that you can restart the original one again because the message had failed again. So that is how we're actually ensuring that this works. We have some limitations. We currently do not know how this affects the count of your SAP connections, and I would assume that in some scenarios it can increase it. You cannot view or edit the payload in the UI. It is base 64-bit encoded, and I would assume that at some point we will add this functionality. So let me just show you how this works. So here I have a flow that I'll process, and this one fails for a number of reasons. And we can then go into our ERT application. Oh, let me just check. So here we have our language flow. It has failed. It has receiver log. It has this payload that ERT save. So what we'll do if we go to the application, find the flow that are logging these messages, we can see we're getting this language detect. If we just, so we can do it. So normally it will pull every couple of minutes, and we can also trigger this pull now. So we can see we're getting a message. We can see some information about it. We can see the error code that's also coming into the ERT save. And then we got a property saying here up that the message can be sent again. So we will resend the message, and this call always would give us a 400 error back. Otherwise, we will get some information that this has been processed. The way we have just defined the flow is that we have, and we can see we have added this one in the beginning here, and in our exception we have just added this one. And this Groovy script is pretty straightforward, and you can also find it in the accompanying blog. And from the ERT application, you'll also be able to download this. And we can see here we're just taking these payload, putting them into the property, and then once we get into an exception, we'll pick out the exception, and then we will add the ERT save payload to it, and add the exception cause and stuff like that. So this is really a simple way of ensuring that we can see some data being processed in a simple way. Yeah, it is by no means the most optimal way of doing this, but I think it solves some problems and some cases for doing restart and figuring out how much do you want to restart these messages. So you can try it out at figaf.com/IRT cloud. Try it out, see how it works on your system, and see a lot of all the other functionality that ERT supports, both DevOps, monitoring, and a transport system. So there's a lot of things to make your CPI experience even better. So go check it out.